looking forward to showing you these. My friends, this is the Great Wave, which is the latest in a long line of collaborations with PUMA. And apart from looking absolutely phenomenal, there's also a cool little backstory to them. So in today's video, I'm gonna tell you everything you need to know about them. And if you just sat out there thinking, I'm sold, where can I buy them? Well, as always, you can do that in the link right up there or in the description. So let's get wavy. Wavy? Is that the best I had? Really? So yeah, we actually went and put the Great Wave of Kanagawa on a pair of football boots, which I don't really think has been done before. But that also leads me to the question of why? Why, Jay? Why do you put an artwork on a pair of football boots? Well, there's a good answer to that, because after doing this with PUMA a couple of years back, we just kept coming back to how we're so inspired by Japan and the culture and, you know, the people and the landscapes and their art and, you know, just Japan in general. We really like Japan, if you haven't figured out yet. So we just sat down and discussed how can we do something as iconic as the sakura, the cherry blossoms. And after a bit of brainstorming, we came back to the Great Wave off of Kanagawa, which is arguably one of the most iconic art pieces coming out of Japan ever. It was basically a so-called woodblock print that was made in 1831 by a guy called Hokusai as a bigger series of artwork depicting Fujiyama, Mount Fuji, as you can see in the artwork here. And we really liked that, and we just thought, let's try and see if we can make it work. So we took the idea to PUMA, and thankfully, for the project, they also liked the idea. So it happened. And so we thought that this would also be a great way to combine the Great Wave with the Great Game. Because if you know us, obviously we love our cool and crazy and very unique designs on our boots. But we also really like for the designs to have a slightly deeper meaning. So here, not only is the wave obviously a part of the artwork and the design, but also it symbolizes the journey that we as footballers go on as players, right? Because in football, and in life of course, there are ups and there are downs. And it keeps going up and down, wavy, wavy. But the thing is that if we embrace that and we just ride the wave of ambition, we can turn things into art. So yeah, there's a little bit of motivation in there to just keep going with the ups and the downs. And of course, speaking of motivation and with the boots being inspired by Japan, we also went ahead and actually made a little anime about the boots and motivation. And yes, there is totally a Sensei J in there, an anime J, Anyways, here it is. But now that you've seen that, let's also take a look at the boots themselves, because the Future 7 Ultimate here is, tech-wise at least, completely the same as the regular models that you know. But the design, of course, is, I think it's fair to say that it's quite a lot more unique and I think absolutely phenomenal here. Now, even for me, having been a part of the design process from the get-go, I'm still gobsmacked by how good and how unique these look. So obviously you have the Great Wave of Kanagawa on the outside here, and then it actually also, we have the wave starting on the outside, going all the way around the tip of the boot and turning into the big wave, crashing down. Obviously you have the cheeky little PUMA logo there, and then I really love this, the big rising sun from the Japanese flag. Obviously you also have written in Japanese saying Future here, which is pretty cool, and even these little like wavy graphics from the original art piece right over here. But what's also even better to me is the outsole, where we had PUMA Laser Edge PUMA X Unisport onto the outsole here with the original colors from the art piece, the navy, and the red accent from the sun. So just very cool. And even just the little details with the two-tone power tape and the Unisport logo on the power tape, the waves on the inside, I mean, just phenomenal. But one thing is the future, but we also have a king present. Future, present, I mean, it was a wordplay that sounded really good when I made the script. Now I realize that it was actually pretty lame, so apologies for that. But the boot itself here, on the inside of the King Ultimate, we obviously have the artwork, the Great Wave of Kanagawa, but we also added the red rising sun from the Japanese flag, which is kind of then on the inside of the boot as well, rising over the iconic Mount Fuji. Then on the outside, you have the Puma foam strip with the artwork on the inside, and then the accent on the outside with the red, which I think looks kind of cool. And then of course you also have this wording here on the very front of the boot that says, "There's only one king" in Japanese. So very nice, even a little Puma Unisport logo on the tongue here, which is pretty cool. But then there's also the outsole, which if you look at it from the side, it just looks navy. But then when you start to twist and turn it in the light, you get this electroplated effect that Puma has done, which shows you all sorts of shades of blue and bits of green and yellow, and it might be the coolest looking tooling we've had on a King Ultimate so far. So, what a package, eh? And to be honest, I mean, we've had a lot of really cool designs with Puma over the years. But for me, this has to be, if not one of the coolest, then at least one of the most unique designs that we've seen so far. And again, if you love it, you can buy it in the link to Unisport right over there. But what do you think of the Great Wave? Well, let us know in the comment section right down below. Don't forget, of course, to subscribe to the channel with the notifications on. And if you want to learn some very cool skills to do in your very cool new boots, you can click the playlist right down there. With those words, I'll see you later.